Lawrence and the family of Bucky.
Can you please turn on your screen?
Can you see me?
I can see you, but now you have. All right, we'll see if that noise starts up again, giving us some numbers that I could not. All right, we're here for non-jury trial today. Are we ready to proceed?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Anybody want to give opening statements?
Judge, the people will waive opening statement.
Defense will likewise waive, Your Honor.
All right. You may call your first witness.
Thank you, Judge. The people call Sergeant Jordan Irbies to the stand.
Sergeant Irbies, please unmute your device for me and raise your right hand to be sworn. Sergeant Irbies, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. I know you've testified before, so I don't need to give you any direction. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may proceed, Ms. Woods.
Thank you, Judge. Sergeant Irbies, could you please state your name again for the record?
Sergeant Jordan Urbis, E-R-B as in boy, E-S.
And where are you currently employed?
Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office in the Police Service Division.
Okay. And were you employed in that capacity on November 17th of 2024?
I was.
On that date, were you involved in an investigation involving Lawrence Buckner at 1501 South Huron Street in Ypsilanti Township?
I received a complaint from him, yes.
What do you mean by that?
I was asked to call him in regards to a trespass notice that was served to him earlier that evening.
And did you call Mr. Buckner?
I did.
What phone number were you provided to call?
734.
Thank
And
you.
why were you given the task to call Mr. Buckner?
He was upset for being served a trespass notice to the improper address.
So he was given a trespass notice, but it was to the wrong address?
Yes, so Deputy Jay Clark had served him a trespass notice earlier in the evening. There are two Sunocos. It was supposed to be to the Sunoco at 350 South Ford Boulevard, but Deputy Jay Clark mistakenly issued it to him at 1024 Ecorse Road, which is the second Sunoco gas station in Ypsilanti Township.
So you were calling to just give him the correct information?
He asked to be called in order to make a complaint about being served the improper address.
Oh, so Mr. Buckner was complaining, so you were just
Yes.
calling to follow up on that complaint?
He asked to speak to a sergeant, and I was the one that was on duty at the time.
I see. Do you recall what time you called Mr. Buckner?
I believe it was around 1:30 a.m., somewhere in that time frame.
Okay. And are you familiar with Mr. Buckner's voice?
I am.
And when you called Mr. Buckner, was this call recorded?
It was recorded on my body-worn camera.
Judge, may I share my screen?
All right, buckle up, folks, because this one is messy. Today's case stars a man who decided to turn his phone into a weapon. Not a gun, not a knife, but a telecommunication device. And instead of using it to call Domino's or maybe a lawyer, he used it to threaten a cop. Classic move, right? This is the story of Lawrence Buckner, a man who believes he's being picked on, when in reality, he's just racking up enough bad decisions to fill a police report trilogy. We'll see him try to talk his way out of a threat charge, argue technicalities about a trespass notice, and, spoiler, dig himself deeper with every word. Get ready for some body cam footage, sharp judicial reality checks, and enough cringe to power an entire YouTube channel. Let's dive in.
Previously, so I'm quite familiar with him and his voice and his mannerisms. And that phone call was consistent with previous contacts I've had with him. And him being the person that was served with the trespass, he would be the only one at that point in time that would know that the trespass was served at the improper address.
Okay. And do you see Mr. Buckner on the Zoom today?
I do.
And could you please describe him to the court? Or
He's wearing a black t-shirt with a chain. His Zoom video is labeled Mr. Buckner.
Judge, may the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant, Lawrence Buckner?
No objection, Your Honor.
It shall.
So, who was, when Mr. Buckner had stated on his phone call, if he approached me at the pizza place, I'm going to beat the fuck out of him. Do you know who Mr. Buckner was referring to?
He was referring to Deputy Jay Clark. And I say Jay Clark because we have 2 Clarks that work for us.
Okay. And did you take what Mr. Buckner said to you as a threat on Deputy Clark?
I did.
Okay. And when a threat like that is made to a law enforcement officer, what are you required to do?
There's not any specific requirements, but I made sure to notify Deputy Jay Clark so that he was aware that the threat was made. And then, due to the likelihood of it, if it was going to be carried out, it would possibly be that night. I notified the other deputies on shift in case something occurred with Mr. Buckner.
Did you believe that threat that Mr. Buckner made?
Yes, considering it was made to a sergeant and it was pretty brazen and it's well aware of we know who he is, I did take it as a credible threat.
Okay. And how did this threat on a fellow law enforcement officer make you feel?
It concerned me for the safety of my deputy in the event that he was reserved that trespass notice, or in the event that they did come in contact with him in the community again that later that evening or that week.
Do you believe that this threat was intended to frighten, intimidate, or annoy or disturb your peace?
I do.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that question as speculation and/or calling for a legal conclusion.
Response.
I'm just asking for the officer to elaborate on how that made him feel. I can rephrase my question, Judge.
Okay, please rephrase.
Officer, when you received that threat from Mr. Buckner, how did that make you feel?
I was frightened for the safety of my deputy.
Okay. And why were you frightened for the safety of the deputy?
The fact that a comment like that was made directly to a law enforcement officer, that's not in the typical realm of things that happen. So the fact that he was willing to make such a brazen threat, knowing that he was talking to a sergeant, knowing that he was calling to make a complaint, the credibility of that threat to me was pretty substantial. It's not something.
Here comes the calm before the storm. Sergeant Jordan Herbie, the officer who had the misfortune of dealing with Buckner that night. You can already tell from his composure that this isn't his first rodeo. The prosecution knows exactly what they're doing, laying a clean foundation by having Herbie walk us through every step. What he did, when he did it, and why. This is standard courtroom setup, but it's also strategy. They're building credibility early, so when we get to Buckner's meltdown later, there's no room for he said, she said. The contrast between a composed officer and an unhinged defendant is half the battle.
Under Deputy Clark, is that correct?
I believe it was whether Deputy Clark had a problem with him specifically or not.
One of the things you said in that call was that he hadn't been at the sheriff's department long enough to have any contact with Mr. Buckner. Is that correct?
To have significant enough contact for him to have a vendetta against Mr. Buckner, yes.
Fair to say that you were incorrect and that Mr. Buckner had contact with Mr. Clark.
Yes, he had contact. I don't believe I refuted that he had contact.
So fair to say that Mr. Buckner was not in fact lying to you?
I mean, it depends on how you're interpreting what Mr. Buckner said. So the reason that
Certainly.
Okay.
So additionally, you said earlier that you took the threat seriously.
Correct.
Now on the video, we heard you laughing immediately after you stated out loud that it was a threat.
Correct.
Would you generally laugh after you hear a serious threat towards a law enforcement officer?
Well, that was my response at the time because I thought it was so brazen, and I was surprised by it. It kind of caught me off guard. I didn't expect that to come.
Okay, so I guess, okay, and earlier, the prosecutor asked you how you felt, and you initially said concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was another question the prosecutor asked you where there was an objection and a rephrase. She re-asked you that question, and then you changed concerned to frightened. Do you remember that?
Correct. Yes.
Why did you make that change?
Well, I can feel frightened at the same time that I can feel concerned for my deputy's welfare.
You certainly can, but I'm asking why you changed your phrasing the first time the question was asked to the second time the question was asked.
I don't have a answer for that.
Did you change that phrasing as a result of how you felt it would influence the outcome of the case?
No.
Okay. Now, after Mr. Buckner made that statement, because he approached me at the pizza place, I beat the F out of him, he hung up right away, didn't he?
Correct.
Did he try calling you back?
No.
Okay. And how did you determine that the he was talking to was Deputy J. Clark? Was it anything other than the context of the call?
I believe he said Deputy J. Clark in the phone call. He said Deputy Clark in the phone call, identifying him.
At the end of the call, I heard was he. Did you hear something different?
I'd have to re-listen to the body.
Pause and appreciate the irony. Buckner's entire complaint started over a simple clerical error. He was trespassed from the wrong address. That's it. The officer's call wasn't confrontational. It was customer service, basically. Imagine a police sergeant calling to politely correct paperwork and the recipient turning that into a violent threat. That right there is the core of this case. Escalation without reason. What could have been a minor correction turns into a full-on criminal charge, proving once again that how you react to authority often matters more than what they did in the first place.
It was more out of shock than anything else that he had just said that and then hung up.
And he hung up the phone on you, correct, after he made that threat?
Correct.
Okay. Was that a laugh could that be described as a happy laugh?
I would say it was more of like a holy crap. Like he just said that.
Okay. So more like a nervous laugh. Is that what you're saying?
I would say that would be a way to categorize it, yes.
Okay. And did you end up reporting this after this happened?
Reporting it in terms of
For charging.
yes.
And why did you do that?
Because I believe the threat may be credible.
I have no further questions, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Lebo?
Very briefly, Your Honor. Sergeant Irby, were you laughing because you were looking forward to submitting charges against Mr. Buckner?
No.
Okay.
Shocked reaction.
Fair to say that throughout the conversation with Mr. Buckner, far before you made that statement, you were generally fairly impatient with.
Okay, this is where things go off the rails, the body cam footage. For those new here, body cam recordings are court gold. They don't lie, they don't forget, and they don't misinterpret tone. You're about to hear exactly how Buckner handles a simple conversation. And let's just say it's not great. The defense can't spin this. The body cam is like having a truth serum strapped to a cop's chest. When you see officers act this calm while the suspect unravels, you know the
people rest our case.
Thank you. Any witnesses from the defense?
No, your defense rests except for closing argument.
All right. Did you want to talk to your client before you say that, or you've already talked? Do you need to make a record of anything?
I will make a record, Your Honor.
All right. You want to make a record or later?
I can do that now, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Buckner, do you understand that you have a right to testify in this case, sir?
Yes.
Okay, and are you choosing not to exercise that right today?
I mean, I can testify.
I know, I'm asking you if you have decided to testify.
And there it is, the moment everything collapses. Those 7 words just sealed Buckner's fate. I'ma beat the expletive out of him. It's a textbook example of malicious use of telecommunications. You can hear the tension in Herbie's voice when he calmly responds, well, that's a threat. This isn't free speech. It's a criminal statement made directly to a law enforcement officer. The prosecution doesn't need dramatic music or editing here. The defendant...
Mr. Buckner, have you decided to waive your right to testify in this case?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Buckner, you fully understand you have a right to testify, at which time anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You're choosing to waive that right and not testify today? Is that you're choosing to not testify today, and you're not going to exercise your right to testify? Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. All right. I guess we can proceed with closing statements with the people, please.
Thank you, Judge. So, Judge, we heard testimony from Sergeant Irby's. We know this happened in Ypsilanti Township, and we know that the defendant made these threats through a phone. The telephone number was also put on the record. We actually saw the phone call that was used to communicate between Sergeant Irby's and the defendant, Mr. Buckner. Second, that when communicating with Sergeant Irby's, the defendant threatened physical harm to another person or to any person. It doesn't even really matter who that person is. Sergeant Irby's believed that that person that he was threatening happened to be Deputy Clark because he spoke about Deputy Clark. He actually said that he had a beef with Deputy Clark. He told Sergeant Irby's that that he has a beef with him. He wasn't happy with him, that there was issues going on with Deputy Clark that Sergeant Irby's wasn't aware of. And then he said that if he approaches him at the pizza place, that he's going to beat the fuck out of him. Judge, these are threats that were made by the defendant directly to a sergeant of a law enforcement agency. Judge, what these people do.
That's a subtle but powerful statement right there. When an officer says they've had numerous previous contacts with a defendant, it tells the judge this isn't an isolated incident. Buckner has a history, and it's not the kind you brag about. Herbie's calm, factual tone adds weight to his credibility. It's not emotional, it's procedural. The prosecution doesn't even need to dig up his record. The implication is enough. Judges pay attention to patterns of behavior, and Buckner's pattern looks a lot